Hello and welcome back to Chaos Creations. I'm a day late with my recording. I had some problems with loading the video up, so I've decided to revamp it now that Legions Imperialis has come out. I was given the information early and I tried to get the video out, but it is what it is. So it's a price at around about 150 to £200. I think that works out to be like $450, $480 Australian. As I said, I'm not going to go for it. I'm going to save up for the Tomb Kings and go from there. But I do have a lot to cover with the Tomb Kings, 3D printing and so forth, and I'll get straight to it. First and foremost is the word that I'm hearing from the people within the Old World community is the general consensus is that bases, apart from the Horsey base, which is likely to be 3060, the rest of the bases are going to stay the same. So heroes and troops, rank and file, are all going to be on the same size base. That way, it all fits on like a base like this, nice and easy. So 25 all the way across, rank and file, blah, 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 blah. The only thing that might change are things that are classed as gargantuan, not things like Khemri and so forth. Abshanti, but things like bone giants and so forth, and war sphinxes and so forth, which are astronomically huge. They might get a very specialized base. We will see. So the one thing I've been interesting is last week people were talking about the movement phase. Now the shooting phase has just dropped, and I found that a great read. But people with the movement phase were upset because they had like a rank of 5 across, and then they had to move some out the way, and that was going to cause problems with movement trays and things like that. You just whack it like that, and if it really is a major problem for you, just grab one of these old horse bases, which you really can't use for anything else, and just whack it in there. Put some tombstones on there, or some big sort of like rotting corpses or something, and then move it across if it's really a problem. I don't see what the hassle is about, to be honest with you. And then once you get to that exact spot, you just take it out. Okay, you get your miniatures, and you just pop them back in. It just seems nice and easy and logical. Now, these bases, these were off Thingiverse. I've just stretched it out because I'm playing, undead. So you want to have a nice rank of, 50 models or 25, 30 models. So that's what I just stretched it across. And I've increased it by 1 or 2 millimeters higher because these things are a little bit more higher than normal. So I just want that to incorporate it so it just fits in there nice and snug. And you don't see it in the base, you just see that wonderful, bit on top. I've taken everyone's advice, and I'm going to do a test. I'm going to do up some bases, do them nice, quiet, and nice, and then I'm going to put the models on. The models will go on tomorrow. I did find a small problem. I seem to have a lot, and I mean a lot of my older skeletons, which are, these things, and this shows you my age, but no shields. And, it was a little concerning. And then I found, I was like, more skeletons, but once again, no shields. So I think I found maybe 4 shields in total, and I've got I think it's like 190 undead skeleton warriors. So what I did is I've 3D printed, hopefully this will get in focus, some shields. So they're not the best, but I need shields, and they'll do. So what I'll do now is I'll just, stick these onto some models, and away we go. Like I said, where are the shields? Here we are. So they're the shields there. So, it's a little bit more decorative, but for what it is, it's a little bit bigger, but that's fine. A bit bigger size. It's a shield. It's supposed to represent, something for the army. I'm good with that. And also the fact is, it fills a void. Now that I've got these shields, I can actually have them all on the models. It makes me very happy. And I'm not paying eBay prices. Some dude was selling like 12 of these shields, and he wanted Australian, $80. And I'm like, no, dude, not hoping. And like 24 shipping. I'm just like, no, you can go get stuffed. Anyway. Now, speaking of 3D printing, I've been trying to do some horses, some undead horses, because once again, I've got a lot of cavalry. And while I have some horses, I'm going to use them for my chariots. And that said, I would also like to maybe print out some chariots and just see how I do. The problem being is that most of the supports were just ripping the model apart. When you've got something like this, it's quite sturdy. So, a support's all the way up here and all the way up here. You just pull them off, not a problem. But when it's like a very thin horse's neck and so forth, it was just ripping the model apart. So I did a thing where I used the resin settings for a PLA printed item, and it actually printed. I was very surprised. So all I need to do now this is print at 0.2, so it is a bit rough around the edges, but I was doing it more for the speed to see if it was actually even humanly possible, more than the actual quality of the miniature. Now that I know it's possible, I can wax 7 of these on overnight, and in the morning, take them off, and they all should be nice and smooth. So the idea is basically the fact that now I can just, just gently pull off the supports like that, and I should have a model. Let's see if that's possible, shall we? I'll just bear with me a second. I'm just doing this on camera. I'm a bit nervous, to be honest with you. Okay, there we go. I see what we've got there. All right, now I might need to do the rest of this off camera because I do not want to stuff it up. No, let's just give it a go. Okay, so we've got to do that there. There we go. Now the joyous part about doing it this way is the supports come off quite easily, as you can tell. And I get a nice quality model. There we go. So there we have an undead horse for cavalry or for the army. The chariots. So I'm a bit gobsmacked it actually worked. Holy Mel. That's really impressive. Okay, and it's sturdy. It's nice and hard. That's a good quality model. Excellent. All right, so what I'll do now is I'll print out 10 of these at 0.1, so they'll be nice and fine. I'm really chuffed. That's turned out really well. I don't know if anyone's ever done that before, to be honest with you. I've never seen it done by anybody. So, yeah, there you go. A first. As far as I'm aware, no one's ever done that before. On a PLA printer with resin settings. Ta-da! The miracle of me. Okay. So, the other part of 3D printing I wanted to talk to you about, let me skip that out of the way because I don't want to start mixing them up with the shields, is another piece of terrain. Now, I did some bigger chariot bases here. These are quite nice. There's a bit of bone on them. They're very much more Toon King style. Somebody on the channel mentioned sand dunes, some nice big sand dunes, and I thought about it, and I looked around, and so I found a place that does some sand dunes, and it's quite large, and I was tempted to put sand on it and so forth, but realistically speaking, anything climbing up this is going to come down it and so forth, so it's not much chance of it rolling off. So what I'll do is I'll paint that up as a sand dune, so a monster can stand on it and such, or be on the edge. Ooh, no, maybe I should put some sand on it, I don't know. But I thought, well, that's nice, but you need some bigger pieces. Now, back in the day, I would have just got some foam, put it on different layers, and then more than likely used like a big file and sort of cleaned it all down and made some foam bases, waxed some yellow sand on it, and flop them around the board like frisbees, and there you go, your pieces of terrain. But for starters, I'm now living in a much smaller place. I don't really have a work shed or workstation anymore other than the small room that I'm in. So I'm limited, and the foam would cause a mess, and realistically speaking, I can't be stuffed. So I did the next best thing. What I did was I 3D printed a big hill. Now this thing's really huge, as it should be. It's a big hill, And then I've taken it out back and I put some wood glue on it and I put some beach sand on it. That way models will hopefully stay on it without falling over too much. Oh, there we go. So the sand helps grip underneath the base, and it'll work. Now I'll paint it brown or black or whatever and put some white and yellow through it and so forth to make it up. Now I did come in 4 pieces, so each piece took about 3 hours to print. At, I think, it was at 0.2, no, 0.1. I did it at 0.1 because I wanted to be nice and smooth, which was my downfall, really, because then it was so smooth, models was sliding off it. I should have done it at 0.2 and a bit more jagged. It's fine, I would have put sand over it anyway, but it would have been a lot quicker. But each piece, I think in total it would have taken up about 1/4 of a roll of filament. It's got infill of 5, so it's still pretty darn solid. It's not heavy, but it's got a bit of heft to it, which is good on a board. It ain't going to go anywhere, I can tell you that much. It's down there. So once again, models can stay up there on top of it. It's got a natural flat part at the top, but rank and file should, well, maybe not. Anyway, you get the general idea. So a huge base can sit on there quite comfortably. And it should look nice in the battlefield, blocks line of sight, or if you're on top of it, it gives you line of sight, which is what I'm hoping for. There is something I want to ask people out there. Now, I love the Abshantes. I've got 6 of them now. Now, originally, these things came with hand weapons or great bows. I've never seen the miniature with the great bow, ever. Not once. And I would love to have these things with great bows. So if you've ever seen a miniature with great bows out there, can you just let me know with a link or something so I can actually see that they actually do exist, because everywhere I look, it's just always these hand weapons and nothing else. And it drives you a bit batty, I must admit. As for some news, the general consensus is that the Bretonnian army and the Undead Tomb Kings will be the first box set that will be coming out in late January, early February. Around September, and this is a bit I don't get. They're saying that there's going to be another box set. Once again, this is all rumours, but, you hear enough rumours all at the same time, you start to think, well, if 300 people are saying the same thing, well, then either they're all talking to each other, which is a bit odd because some are on Reddit, some are on Twitch, and some of them, are on other programs. They all can't be talking the same thing, talking to each other the same way. Is that around September, October, we'll get another box set, which will be Empire and Orcs and Goblins, which seems odd. You would think Dwarves and Orcs and Goblins would be the better match, but, maybe I thought Empire and maybe, the Bray Shaman would be more a thing. But look, it's Games Workshop. Who knows? Apart from that, I think that's it from me. Oh, one more thing. So I went through my bit boxes. I found a whole lot of weapons and a couple of shields. Enough to make 1.5 chariots. And about 12 crew members, which is great. So, I can pop a couple on the chariot, maybe make another chariot out of the other bits and pieces, who knows, and, extra guys to whack onto the bases, which is always good. You always want lots of rank and file with your dudes. So what I'll do is over the next week is I'll be putting together some of these bases with skeletons on them. I'll try to do an even mix of bowmen and swordsmen, maybe a little bit more towards the bowmen, mostly because undead, their bow skills suck. They really do. Ballistic skill 2. Hopefully in the new rules they've been boosted up to 3, just, make them a little bit better. But I doubt it. Oh, one other thing. The box sets that we'll be getting. All right, so this is something I mentioned in the group, and everyone else seems to think it's exactly what I'm thinking. So at the moment, when the miniatures come out, for the most part, it's going to be a lot of the old miniatures, the stuff that we've seen 10 so years ago. Now, we've seen some of the Bretonnian stuff with the new knights and so forth, and I'm sure there will be lots of those. There'll be like, maybe 4 or 5 different packs where you can have one that is like, double-handed halberds, or you can turn them into like, sword and shield guys and so forth, which is great because it gives you lots of spare parts, and kit bashing, kiss bashing is going to return, thank God. But we'll only get a couple of units like that, so maybe 2 or 3 per race. And we'll get like their army book and so forth. And from what I understand, the army books are going to be insanely thick, because it has to cover, all of that particular race. So Empire will have all the Empire, the Norse and so forth, the Kislevites and such. So these books aren't going to be particularly small. I mean, they can be, I guess, but, you want them to be at least, reasonably jam-packed. Now, when the book comes out, the main book, it'll just have like, skeleton crew of all the bits and pieces, the rules and the background and fluff and so forth. But the boxes of miniatures themselves are normally like 24 per box. From what I'm hearing, it's now going to be 32, which makes me think that points costs are going to be considerably cheaper. So let's say for a skeleton, I think in the old rules they were like 4 points. They might be 2 points now. So, you can have more skeletons for you, more bang for your buck. And it does make sense as well. They want people to buy lots of miniatures, lots and lots and lots and lots. And they're counting on, in some respects, most people having at least part of an army or a chunk of an army, but not all of an army. And if they go, oh shit, not only do we need all of an army, but I need like, 20 more of those, 20 more of those, 60 more of those, blah, 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 it's all going to add up. But hold your horses. This is what I'm thinking. So if you look at Necromunda, when it first came out, you had the Goliaths and the Esches, and you had their nice miniatures. They were very nice miniatures. And then they had a book. And that's very nice. Then a year and a half later-ish, they bring out even better models for your Goliath, even better models for your Escher, and they have books, big books of iron, books for the outlaw, books for the judge, blah, 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 blah. And all the miniatures are absolutely mind-blowingly beautiful. What if they're going to do that? So, all right, let's say for the argument's sake, 2 years to bring out all the races, army books, and all the races, standard miniatures and so forth. Then they go right the way back to the beginning. So they go back to Bretonnia and the Khemri and go, right, here is all brand new rank and file, all new elites, all new everything with a brand spanking bigger and better book. And that's what I think is going to happen. Once they get through that cycle of everything and everyone's got their books and everyone's happy and so forth, they're going to bring out all new miniatures. So the Bretonnians, let's say, have got their 4 boxes of brand new miniatures. They will have those, and they'll have brand new this, brand new that, blah, 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 blah. So realistically, you can just revamp your army with brand new miniatures if you want to. That said, for some players, they're not going to be bothered. But the cunning thing is they're going to attack you bit by bit. So I have my nice rank of, beautifully painted undead archers here. I've got 4 ranks. They're from, 8 years ago, but they're still awesome. They're looking great. And they're going to say, all right, well, we just brought out a new packet of undead. And not only, they get that, but they'll have beautiful helmets and, they'll have, maybe better ornate bows and different, styles of holding the bow and so forth. And they'll bring out the Ushabti with, the great bows, which are, urban legend and so forth. And the models will be, far more stunning and this, that, and the other. And you're thinking, well, I could do with 3 more of those, and especially they've got bows now. I want the bows. That'll be perfect. I mean, everyone needs bows, right? And that's what they're going to do. They're going to get you bit by bit by bit with miniatures. Now, it's different than Necromunda. Necromunda was a group of 8 miniatures for the new Goliath. So the House of Iron would have, 8 new miniatures. So realistically speaking, with Fantasy Battle, they can't do that all at once. So, you'll get brand new archers, brand new plastic kits for swordsmen, blah, 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 blah. And then 2 or 3 weeks later on, hey, it's brand new Ushabti, blah, 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 blah. Fit them out with bows, fit them out with this, give them a great weapon, blah, blah, blah. Give them the ancient clave, blah, 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 blah. And here's a brand new, character for the undead. And that's just it. They can bring out, I mean, they brought out, what, 4 or 5 specialized characters for the book. And there was like 8 characters in there. So they only got 4 done out of 8. And there was a couple at the back, that were, sounding absolutely amazing. And we never saw miniatures for them. You basically just said, oh, this is such and such, such and such. Oh, okay, fine, no worries. Anyway, I'm starting to babble. So what will happen is Legions Imperialis for me is on the back burner. I'll have to not buy it. I looked at some of the prices anyway. It is ridiculous. They're going to give you pretty much everything they've got next week for sale to buy. And it's going to be a feeding frenzy. It really will be. I don't know if I'll be able to even get a box, even if I wanted to. So what I'll likely do is save my pennies over Christmas, save my pennies. I've been offered some money for Christmas for stuff, so what I might do is just pop that away and save it for February and then go bye. Anyway, it's about midnight. I'm going to load up this video and go to sleep. Everyone have a great day. This is Chaos signing off. Bye-bye. Oh, and if you like the video, like it, subscribe to it, tell your friends about it too. This is just the beginning, okay? Everyone, have a great night. Bye-bye.